Good morning, Mr. Jimi Solanke, legend of the arts. It's a pleasure to have you on Deep Dive.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you on, sir.
Thank you very much.
Too many things I want to talk to you about. I mean, firstly, you were born in 1942, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Tell me what life was growing up in Lagos in the 1940s and how it looks different now today than what it used to be in the 1940s.
The difference is so much. It's very clear because Lagos then, how many people were in Lagos? You could walk the broad streets, clean. You could, you know where you are going. The gutters were clean. The waters running in the gutters were clean. We used to walk from Olowogbowo across the wooden bridge to Victoria Island to play pranks, pick up some mangoes, pick up some crabs. And life was water everywhere because there were taps, water taps, situated in different areas of Lagos. And Lagos was a great place to live in those days.
I can imagine.
I mean, people on the streets, they know whose son you are. You are the one doing that right there. I will tell your daddy. Not your daddy, my report to it. So you can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, talking about daddies, I like that you brought that up because I know that once you started your career or once you wanted to go into music, your father disapproved of your decision to go into the arts. Why was that? And perhaps tell me what kind of man he was.
Let me tell you, he was right. He was playing the role of daddies in those days. No daddies, talking about daddies now, like you just mentioned, no daddy in those days would allow his son or any of his wards to become a musician. There was not even any hype about an actor, but a musician. Omonilu. I mean, the Gotthard feeling. Mogota. Omonilu. What profession is that? So he was right. But it was fine that I held to my own buckle too, and that's why I'm Jimi Solanke.
Exactly. I mean, you went on to University of Ibadan.
Yes.
And I guess that's where you caught the bug proper.
Yes, the School of Drama.
Exactly, that this was clearly what you wanted to do. What was it like in the School of Drama in Ibadan?
We had the preparatory leverages when we were at Mbari Club. It was at Mbari Club that I met a lot of great people. One of them, who is my Oga till date, is having his birthday today, Wole Soyinka. Yes, it was at Mbari Club that I met them. Demas Nwoko, Ralph Okpara, Chris Okigbo. So rest in peace. Segun Olushola, Christopher Kolade. They were all bunched together in that club, and they were hot in artistic discipline. That will hold guitar.
You must have had a great time.
On the keyboard. So that's how and where I picked up, apart from having the talent for singing, I picked up, drama or theater, because they were always doing one show, they were always doing one theater, one drama.
Yeah.
And then we were given small roles. Yes, sir. That's how it started.
Yeah.
And they were behind because Ulibaya, and all of them were behind the School of Drama, which was initiated through the Institute of African Studies. They then said, oh, let's the School of Drama. Then instituted the course, the program, and some of us, applied. We sat for the examination and we passed. Yomi Obileye, Yewande Akibo, Tuji Oyelano, Wale Ogunyemi, and about 20 of us.
Interesting.
That's how we started the School of Drama in Africa.
Exactly. And not long after you left UI, you sojourned to the United States of America, where you started the African Review.
Yes.
In fact, you were reported at the time by the CNN as the master storyteller. I mean, tell me about the group that you started in the United States. I think you released 2 records in the United States.
Yes.
How those records fared and what it was like, your time there.
They're fine.
Because you also fell in love in the United States at the time.
Whoa. That's a long story on its own.
Yeah.
Is it in 77?
Yes.
After having met a lot of people around here, and I had a lot of contacts, and I had a lot of money, from Pestac payments, payments from Pestac and a lot of other goodies in my pocket, different brands of money. I said, I should travel too. So I decided, I took the visa for London, France, UK, and US. I made those preliminary Paris, UK, then I traveled to the US. In fact, when I got to New York, one of the Randy Weston, I think the pianist who came here for the program of Festac. I just called him. I said, I'm in New York. He says, oh, we've been waiting for you. I said, And that's how he invited me for this Ralph McDonald's Onola Ujagbaragada, The Path by Ralph McDonald. He said, So I went to the studio, they gave me the script, studied it, and it was one take. Oh! It was one take. That's how I started in America. But I discovered that New York was too cold. That 77 winter was bad in New York. And people started telling me, oh, there is sun here. Where? Sun? Where? In the West Coast. That's where we are. We are in the West Coast. And you have sun? They said, yes. Okay. I had enough money. I just took a flight to Los Angeles. And truly enough, as we were landing, I saw it was a fine, I was in top coat. And I've already started feeling the heat. And this in America, I landed in LA, people came to collect my load, myself, and son, that's true.
I mean, and that's where you produced the 2 albums that you made.
Yes.
How successful were they?
They were nice. America has got magic, and the cantos de canto de la spiritual or something, because some Spanish family wanted me to sing some Orisha songs, to sing some traditional songs. Look, we have seen you now, you're a proper Yoruba man. Sing some songs for Shango or Shun that you sing there. I said, okay, plenty. So I sang. That one was very good. Even the family, they are still contacting me till today. Yes, the Hoxons, they're still contacting me today. That's fine. And the other one, America Has Got Magic, fine.
Interesting times.
Fine.
I mean, not long after, I think it was in 86, you came back to Nigeria to join the NTA at the time. And I'm thinking and I'm imagining how a superstar in the United States of America, you left all the momentum you were building in the States to come back to join the NTA.
Let me tell you the truth. I came home in 82. Because I went back 80 years. I came home in 82, 83 session. And I was just showing Americanization all over the place. And I got to Ife at the Department of Dramatic Arts. And Professor Soyinka saw me and said, "What's all this? Throw that cap and that bag away and then come back and sit down." What's that? We are not going back anywhere again. We have work to do here. And I saw God. I just stayed. I only had to go back there and tell my troop meeting. They are still keeping up the troop today. That look, I think I prefer to stay home this time. And it was fine I stayed home. If I had stayed there, only God knows what would have happened to me. So when I was in America, that's where I built up the attitude of storytelling. Because they love listening to all these African stories. Then when I came here, I did a show with B.D. Wright at the Unilag Staff Club. I brought all of them, all the children, and we had a good show. Lagos TV, they just opened then. Then they came to see the show. They recorded everything we did on that show. And that was how they had the first 2 episodes that they aired on LTV. That's where it started. Bang ba ere watayo laye o ero wa wo wa we. That's where I just came. I had 2 members of my American team with me.
Yeah.
Caris and so that's where I now discovered that, you like story here in Nigeria too. That's when I started telling stories.
I mean, do you feel a bit of hurt and regret of what has become of NTA now, given the quality of production you had back in the day and the kind of stories and the productions that you did? Is there some kind of,
My regrets are more than just the programs they are churning out these days. Can you believe that we cannot even go into any of the studios to pick up one episode of Storyland? And I did over hundreds because they've just been stupidly cleaned off their tapes. Or maybe they use the tapes to record so many other things. So is that a national television situation? So a lot of stations have taken the space from them. Private television. I mean, they have taken the first in Africa. Nonsense.
I want to talk to you about nightlife in Lagos, what it used to be back in the day, where you had clubs, you had a lot of bands that used to play. That has changed now, of course, because in those days, if you wanted to go out to see your popular artist, you had to go to a club to go and watch them play.
Yes.
And that brings me, I think you played with Chris Agilo.
Oh, yes.
And Orlando Julius.
Oh, yes.
What was it like playing with these legends?
Oh, they were great people in my life. especially Uncle Chris Ajulo. I had to go to Ijebu-Jesha, and they both are from Ijebu-Jesha. I had to go to Ijebu-Jesha to have a night for his burial. Uncle Chris taught me a lot of standards. You know, when you want to do, right as a singer, you have to learn a lot of standards. You know, these are jazz standards, and then you are shocked, you're absorbed a singer, because when a piano, it say, fly me to the moon, and they say, you need sympathy. Uncle Chris taught me all sorts, because he gave me all the score, the score sheets where I studied them. As for Orlando, we started the band together when I was arriving in Ibadan. In those days, at Independent Hotel, Okebola. He was already gathering a group, and somehow I joined the group, and we did a lot of good things together. And his brother sponsored us. His brother was Ike Dairo. He was living in Ilesha. He bought instruments for us, gave us a bus, and myself and Orlando Julius, we were that tight. But when you talk about in those days, in Lagos, nightclubs, maybe you will start from one club, and you see, when you get to Martini Agogo on when you get there, as you are buying your first beer, the same people you left at Batakoto will meet you there. And when you leave, you cross the bridge. When you get to Alagomeji, Afro Sport or something like that, as you are sitting down, they are coming. And you will be on it until you end up at Bobby Benson.
The great Bobby Benson.
That's where the newspapers will read.
Oh, interesting times.
Well, life was good.
Why do you think bands died? We no longer have the culture of watching bands, and you no longer have band leaders. Why did bands die? Why do you think they died?
First, the fashion of night clubbing changed at a point when disco crept in, and the bands too, they were not being able to be managed properly by hotel owners. And hotel owners will prefer a disco man, just one man with his noising, and little by little the bands started leaving Lagos, going to Mushi, Mola Debu. That one, Deolu was there for so long. And when you want to listen to a band, you have to go either to Bobby Benson or to Western Hotel or Maladebu at beyond the Dioro. And then beyond into Olonshogo area, past Mushi, to listen to Roy Chicago and all such, identical, owners.
Yeah.
Latunde Vincent, Omoladebu. They were still ready to pay for bands Then somewhere in Yaba, where Isi Arize was still playing. I'm taking it right back to the time I started, coming out to see bands. But people like in the Lagos axis here, they still had that band. We all go there to see him. He's a Ghanaian boy. He was a Ghanaian boy. He used to play there. Because, little by little, band started, missing from... But he remained there for a long time until he was... His name keeps coming and... Yes.
I mean, those were interesting times, and the way the nightlife scene changed is very fascinating. Like you said, how disco changed the whole landscape.
Yes, then disco came, boo, bah, boo, bah.
Let's talk a bit about your art. I know that when you came back, even during one of Kongi, your as you call him, your leader's books, you did a play of one of his books, or it was a drama that you acted on. But I wanted to ask you specifically, because in the 80s and in the 70s, stage plays were a thing in Nigeria. You could go to the National Theatre. In fact, they used to travel around the country for several months, staging plays across the country, people buying tickets and going to watch.
Yes.
How did that die? And how can we go back to those days where plays meant something? Where you could go to your local theatre in Oshogbo and watch your favorite Jimi Solanke come to town. How do we go? What happened, and how can we go back to those days?
As for the theater experience, and I was part of the movement, the first set of actors to start theater productions at the National Theatre. I was part of the movement. Did a lot of plays. We did a lot. I mean, there was one popular play that we held it for, I think, 4 weeks. The Divorce by Wale Oguyemi, where I played the husband and my wife on it, fantastic woman. Ìyàwó mi mú ṣẹṣẹ Ajayi said.
Ajayi said.
Fantastic character. The Divorce by Wale Oguyemi, written by Wale Oguyemi. Tujo Elano was in it. Yomi Obileye was in it. Yes, very fine play. And it was on for 4 weeks. And you can imagine, as we are being brought into the theater, you would have seen the long queue of people trying to buy tickets. Those were some memories I will never forget. Buying tickets. And you were going there to get into the costume and be ready for them. Such feelings. But you know what stopped us from having the theater? First, nightlife became tempestuous somehow. You cannot come out, you cannot come into the streets just anyhow and say you want to go and watch a play and all that. Number two, the video movie, on television plays started coming up, and, in those days, you could sit down and watch great, theatrical series on television. And so a lot of people started sitting at home. Even if you don't have a television, you go and limper on a window, on a neighbor's window. You have watched it. So a lot of people started staying away from the theater. Meanwhile, the same people who were on stage to give the live performances are now moving into studios to be recorded in plays. And that's how the TV took all the audiences from live theater. But definitely now, we need live theater. And that's why I'm building one in my hometown.
Fantastic, fantastic. Let's, as we round up, let's just talk about your art, for a bit. You've driven all the way from Ife. And I was going to ask you, after living in New York, in California, in Lagos, why you decided to settle in Ife, and then, we talk about
Ife, from my origin per se, from my hometown, we believe totally, so seriously that we were all from Ile-Ife. So when I had the opportunity of staying in Ife, it was like I was living in my ancestors' land. That's why I have a house there till now. And so that alone makes me feel good when I go back to my hometown. They say, Baba Fe. They say Baba Fe. But now, I am no more Baba Fe, I am Baba Akbara.
Okay. So tell me about your art. You're doing an exhibition on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
What is this about? You're 81. You don't look like you're retiring anytime soon. You're still doing an art exhibition. What is this art exhibition about?
All these 81, 82, they are just mere numbers. What you want to do from your middle point of being, that's where you should be thinking. Because when you are a good actor, and every man is an actor, in life, every man is an actor. So believe this power that actors use it in life. Think, before you do anything, believe everything coming out from here. You see, this one there is the one that is mobilizing this one. This one, because once you have that middle energy, even at work, in your engineering, feel it. You are good to go. I'm telling you, you are good to go. You can't keep thinking between here and there. The do is when you stand, when you walk. I'm sharing this. When you walk, when you do anything, let the strength come from your middle. That's all. Once it is there, it guides all areas of you.
I'm sorry I'm rushing because we just have 2-3 minutes left. But something just popped up. I remember when you talked about your time in UI and the club where you met, Wale Soyinka.
Barry Club.
The Barry Club. There was a mixture of people from different parts of the country. You had people from the north, from the southeast, Yoruba people, and there was some sort of brotherhood and camaraderie amongst you. What has changed? How did we lose that essence of brotherhood? And do you think that the arts can take us back to those days?
Definitely. There is no togetherness, no camaraderie in the arts that anything can break. Between them, they can agree to disagree, but that strength, that thespian energy will always keep an artist and another artist together. Check, I still have my my great friends, she's, yes, Ify, they are still my great friends forever and ever. Nothing, no external forces can come and say, Ima, so how can I and Ima be distancing ourselves from ourselves? So that is the art for you, especially the performing arts, that you use yourself as the machine to do the job. You must care and cover for each other.
I mean, what are your biggest, what are your fondest memories in your 81 years of living? And do you have any regrets being Jimi Solanke?
None. Because everything that is regrettable could have been things I man-made. I caused myself to do. And once that has happened, and it's one thing with me, I never think of what has come. What I did yesterday, I will just, remember that has happened. But I'm already working out what will happen tomorrow. What am I going to do? If I've failed somebody, if I have failed in a performance yesterday, if I have made a mistake in something I did yesterday, I will be ready to make sure that I clean it up and I make an amend tomorrow. Because that's the manner in which I live.
It's a fascinating way to end our conversation. It's an honor and a privilege to speak with you. And thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Jimi Solanke, you're a legend.
Thank you.